Miracles are said to be the work of supernatural powers. Catalysts, such as miracle workers, religious leaders, or icons, or even divine intervention, are attributed to the causes of occurrences that simply cannot be explained by natural or scientific laws. On April 28, 1565, a miracle was said to have transpired in Cebu. A small wooden sculpture shaped into a cherubic child with both hands raised, the left holding a globe that represents the world, and the right held up in a gesture of peace and blessing, was found in an old wooden chest amid the wreckage of a scorched hut. How it survived despite the roaring flames that besieged the town remains a mystery. And this mystery of how that statue survived those 450 years ago continues to bewilder, amaze, and strengthen Christian faith all over the world. Known as the Holy Child, or the Señor Santo Niño, the image is revered by Christians as a king, protector, and refuge in times of need. It is considered as the oldest religious relic in the country. Today, the discovery of that same wooden icon is celebrated annually in a festival known as Kaplag. Cebu is an island province in the Visayan region in the Philippines. Consisting of a main island and 167 surrounding islands and islets, the province spreads across 494,372 hectares with 6 component cities. The most populous of these is also the province's capital, Cebu City. Located on the eastern shore of Cebu Island, the city is considered to be the first Spanish settlement and the oldest city in the Philippines, after expeditions by Portuguese Ferdinand Magellan and Spanish Miguel Lopez de Legazpi found their way to the island. Though known to be one of the more advanced and modern cities in the Philippines, Cebu holds more than enough history that can explain why some Filipinos are what they are now. Kaplag is a Cebuano word meaning finding or discovery. This directly alludes to the discovery of the Santo Niño statue in Cebu centuries ago. Its arrival in the Philippines is dated back to 1521, when conquistador Ferdinand Magellan stumbled upon the islands after being driven off route due to strong winds. The fleet, which originally sought to look for the land of spices, found itself on the island of Cebu. There, a community of early Filipinos who the Spaniards believed to be pagans were introduced to Christianity. Raha Humabon, the leader of the community, adopted the religion along with his 800 subjects. His wife, Queen Juana, was gifted with the Santo Niño image. However, the spread of Christianity in the Philippines halted after Ferdinand Magellan's demise in the hands of another Philippine chieftain, Lapu-Lapu. The Battle of Mactan took place on April 27, 1521. After Lapu-Lapu rejected Magellan's advances, a hostile battle ensued, which led to the fall of the conquistador. The fleet surrendered, thus ending Magellan's expedition and momentarily the propagation of Christianity in the country. 44 years later, the religious campaign was revived upon the arrival of Spaniards Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and Andres de Urdaneta. In the village of Raha Tupas, one of Legazpi's men, Juan Camus, stumbled upon a wooden chest in a partially burnt hut. Inside hid the image of the Señor Santo Niño. This moment in history established the birth of Christian heritage in the Philippines. Cebu was titled Villa del Santísimo Nombre de Jesús, or the town of the most holy name of Jesus, making the island the first Spanish settlement in the country. The Augustinian members of Legazpi's expedition began the evangelization and Christianization of the archipelago. Following the establishment of the Convent of Augustinians in the Philippines, a church was built atop the land where the Santo Niño was found. This church became the central house of the Augustinians and the mother church in the Philippine Islands. The history that transpired bestowed Cebu the title Cradle of Philippine Christianity. The Santo Niño Church was first built as a cottage made of wood and nipa in 1565. In the succeeding years, the church burned down twice, prompting the Augustinians to rebuild it using stone. In 1735, government officials and Augustinian priests came together to reconstruct the church as it is seen today. Hard stone quarried from Capiz and Panay and Molave wood from Talisay and Pitalo were used in the building of the church. Reverend Juan del Albaran, with no prior knowledge of architecture, took charge of the construction. The church was completed around 1739. In 1965, during the fourth centennial of the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines, the church and convent underwent a more extensive restoration process. The renovation followed the historical character of the old structure with utmost respect. In the same year, Pope Paul VI conferred upon the church the title Basilica Minore. In 1990, in order to accommodate a growing number of devotees, a pilgrim center was built right across the church. An open-air, theater-like structure that can house 3,500 people, the area is used for holy masses during weekends, festivals, and religious celebrations. The Kaplag 2015 Festival is a celebration of the 450th year of Philippine Christianity and the 50th year of the Santo Niño Church as a Basilica Minore. Novena Masses, parades, and performances are only some of this year's highlights. Organized by an executive committee composed of senior fathers, local and national government officials, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, and the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the event was based off of the 400th year celebration of Kaplag in 1965. Further assistance was granted by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, the Archdiocese of Cebu, and several invited consultants in planning and implementing the different activities set for the celebration. One of the festival's kick-off activities was the launching of a commemorative book and stamp celebrating Kaplag. Held at the SM City, Cebu, people flocked to witness the unveiling of the two products. Three exhibitions were opened during the celebration last April. Representatives from the National Archives of the Philippines, Augustinian province of Santo Niño de Cebu, Philippines, and Kaplag organizers put together and opened ang Kaplag, Panaglambigit sa Katawan ug Kultura, an archival document exhibit at the Ayala Center, Cebu. A collection of old documents and photographs detailing the arrival of Christianity, the finding of the Santo Niño image, and the establishment of Augustinian history in the Philippines were displayed.
The archival records that are exhibited supports the existence of the Santo Niño, which was brought here in 1521. Without the records, then we can never validate whether the image really existed before 1521 or it arrived in the Philippines, or we really have the finding of the image of the Santo Niño. So these are important documents that shows us that indeed the image that was brought by Magellan here in 1521 was found, rediscovered in 1565.
In SM City, Cebu, photo and painting exhibits were also open to the public. Santo Niño, Hope of the People, features the photographs of Paul Kiambao and Angelo Bacani, depicting the love and devotion of the Filipino people towards Señor Santo Niño. In Asa Makaplaganang Señor, paintings are exhibited. In his works, one can get a glimpse of the lives of those who devoted themselves to the blessed child Santo Niño de Cebu. The first ever Kaplag International Conference was also held during the celebration. The first of its kind, the conference brought together over 160 members of various religious congregations in a 4-day event that opened a discourse on the historical and cultural basis of the finding of the Santo Niño image, the Christianization of the Philippines, and the arrival and founding of the Augustinian order in the country.
Broadly speaking, however, the 450th celebrations has other dimensions: ecclesiastical, cultural, social, and even political. Are we not celebrating also the initial attempt to organize the setup of the church or even the structuring of towns and villages according to the Spanish colonial design, which we Filipinos have inherited? Are we not celebrating also the beginning of intercultural blending or merging, or what we may consider today as enculturation, both in its social and religious aspects? I believe all these dimensions or considerations will be treated by our different resource persons, who are individually an authority in their respective fields of specialization.
Participants included professors from Augustinian schools, lay collaborators of Augustinian parishes, Augustinian and non-Augustinian sisters and other religious congregations, friars and nuns from countries such as Indonesia, Japan, Spain, and Australia also joined the event.
We thought of having this conference. This is actually the first time that we're calling for a conference about the Kaplag. We thought of it because for quite some time we have not been discussing about the devotion to the Santo Niño, the Augustinian presence. It's a time for us to remind also ourselves as Augustinians and also the people about their devotion to the Holy Child. What are the historical facts surrounding the devotion? What is the historical foundation of devotion? Because there might be a tendency that some people might be forgetting that there is a sound historical foundation of the devotion to the Santo Niño.
A multi-day procession known as the Translacion Señor Santo Niño paraded all over Cebu City from one church to another. From the Basilica de Santo Niño, the image was brought to the Redemptorist Church and then to the San Nicolas Church, all the while escorted by a flurry of devotees. The fluvial procession began at the St. Joseph Shrine in Mandawi City, where the image of the Holy Child was then transported to Ouno Wharf. Señor Santo Niño boarded a decorated galleon and smoothly cruised down the Gulf, an armada of boats following suit. In an impeccable display of piety, Christian followers sailed and welcomed the holy image on Pier 1 with a grand welcome. The Santo Niño was then brought by foot to the Basilica's Pilgrim Center, where a Mass took place. But perhaps the most awaited of all Kaplag activities is that of the Grand Reenactment. Essentially a staged play set in various locations all over Cebu, the reenactment tells the story of the arrival of Señor Santo Niño in the Philippines in 1521 and its discovery 44 years later during the Legazpi-Urdaneta expedition. Directed by TV and theater director Floy Quintos with the guidance of Val San Diego, this year's reenactment is the largest it has ever been, with more than 100 Cebuano performers from various schools, universities, and performance troupes in the province. Original scoring based on historical voices and writings from Antonio Pigafetta, Father Andres de Urdaneta, and recordings of the Indies were integrated in the performance. Wildly colorful costumes and an extensively researched and conceptualized narration of the entire event accompanied the whole performance. Separated into 3 acts, each one is set at certain spots around the Basilica. From Magellan's Cross, the performance moved to the City Hall and then to the Pilgrim Center, where a last novena Mass was officiated by Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle.
And we are celebrating 450th anniversary of the finding of the Santo Niño. That in our lives, in our daily life, He is the one who searches for us. He is the one who finds us.
The 450 voices, a choir composed of 450 singers from Cebu, sang their praises alongside a crowd of thousands as the event drew to a close. The night was capped by a celebratory dance by all the performers of the Grand Reenactment and a dazzling firework display.
As we celebrate 450 years of Kaplag.
On the last day of the Kaplag festival, the image of the Señor Santo Niño was brought back to the Basilica in a solemn procession that truly brought out the faith in each and every devotee present. Back at the Pilgrim Center, Christians sent their praises to the Holy Child for one more time before basking in the joyous celebration of a Sinulog dance performance featuring the best troops in Cebu. More fireworks lit the sky as audiences witnessed the Kaplag 2015 draw to a loud and festive close. The pagkakaplag, or discovery of the image of the Santo Niño 450 years ago, was considered to be more than just happenstance by the Spanish colonizers. If not exactly a miracle, it was a sign to spread the word of Christ, bring people together in spirituality, and venerate the Holy Child as a symbol of innocence and peace. How that devotion transcended through the years has gone beyond the impression of a miracle. More than 85.5% of the Philippine population are Christians, making Christianity the dominant religion in the archipelago. In an occurrence that seems to be a work of divine providence, the finding of the Santo Niño is a moment in Philippine history that continues to be carried on and practiced until today.